Hey guys, Nikolai here. Before we begin, I'd like to let you know that this video is sponsored by Banished, a natural solution to skin problems. You'll hear more about them later in the video. But before we get there, let's take it all the way back to a time when League of Legends looked like this. Today, hacks and exploits basically never happen. Occasionally though, some do slip through. But overall, Riot has done a good job making it so people can't unfairly climb in League of Legends. But that wasn't the case back in the times when Soraka looked like this.
No one expects the banana.
Back then, hacks, bugs, exploits, cheats, they appeared once in a while in different shapes and sizes. So with that being said, let's jump right into 5 times hacks took over League of Legends. Number 5, Blade of the Broken King. A lot of the hacks you're going to see on this list didn't have very long lifespans, but this one came, left, and came again multiple times throughout 2014. The hack was more of an exploit that would exploit a bug that was in the game at the time, but to do so you needed to download an additional third-party software, so for that reason we're calling this a hack. But enough with the boring stuff, let's get straight to the juicy stuff. This hack consisted of buying Blade of the Ruined King, selling it while you're not even in base, then you would buy Zeals, and well, you'd be able to do this. And this. Basically what's happening here is even though the player no longer has Blade of the Ruined King, you are still able to use the active effect. Which sounds OP to begin with, but the active is on a 0-second cooldown, and each time you activate it, you would be using the power of 20 Blade of the Ruined Kings at once. And of course, along with the other hacks and exploits you'll be seeing on this list, people took this hack into ranked games to attempt to climb. But it wasn't long until the Riot police showed up and shut it down, and everyone who tried to benefit from this hack was permanently banned. Number 4, the Ashe and Azir Exploit. This takes place in late October of 2014, where everything was normal, until one day Ashe learned her true power. Over the course of League of Legends, Ashe has always been called a basic champion. She had her highs and lows, but she's never been the flashy type. But on this day, Ashe was sick of it. She looked deep into her heart and found a power that she never felt before. A power that would allow her to strengthen her minions. And no, I'm not talking about these minions. I'm talking about her new minions. Fully fledged champions who became stronger than they could ever imagine by being with Ashe. But alright, let's get into it. The Ashe exploit is a little complicated in the technical space, but in simple words, there was an issue with Ashe's Q that when your team knew what they were doing, they could have their ult up on their very first level up. Now let me just step in and say I don't know what the specifics were because it happened 3 years ago, but I know that Ashe did have to download some sort of third-party program to do the hack, but I'm just unsure if the other players participating need to have the same program as well. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments. Either way, it was hacking. Now back to the impact of the hack. Having your ult up on level 2 is crazy in itself, but it goes deeper, because it wouldn't just be having your ult on level 2, it's having your ult on level 2 with a 0-second cooldown. Not all champions were compatible though, but those who were quite strong as you can imagine. On the screen right now are just some of the instances where the exploit was successful. Just watch as this Fiora gets her ult up on level 2 and just ruins this poor Gnar's life. You know, Gnar probably had a hard day at school, came home, said, I want to play some League of Legends. He loaded up, he got on, and this happens? Really, Riot? This? Damn. Now that we know what Ashe was capable of doing, you might be wondering why the title card was the Ashe and Azir exploit instead of just the Ashe exploit. Well, even though Ashe making Brand have his ult on level 1 is absurdly broken, it wasn't the worst part of this whole ordeal. In some cases, Ashe was able to give almost 0-second cooldowns to other abilities and not just the R button. And that's where Azir comes in. As you may be aware, Azir can summon his own towers onto dead towers. Well, with broken Ashe by his side, he was able to not only summon towers without a cooldown, but he was able to summon them all over the map. No dead tower necessary. And as you can imagine, this is the pinnacle of broken. Azir was able to win ranked games in as little as 6 minutes. Because, well, if a Brand who is shotgun firing his ult every second is hard to fight, imagine fighting an Azir who just turned the map into a real-time strategy game. But eventually, Riot fixed the issue Ashe went back to living her normal life, and Azir went back to playing a mobile game instead of an RTS. But of course, those who knowingly abused this power went on to get their accounts permanently banned. Now before we move on to the remaining 3 hacks on the list, I'd like to tell you about our sponsor Banished. Banished is a natural skincare company dedicated to helping people with acne and scarring issues. Having a bad Teemo on your team is one of the worst things that could happen to you, but right behind that is acne scars and acne in general. And before we continue, Banished is not marketed as a beauty product, it does not have any added fragrances, and it is not a female only product. This is for men, women, and anyone who suffers from acne. Now, there are many stereotypes about the gaming community, and one of them is that we usually suffer from acne. But although that's of course not the case for everyone, acne is a pretty common thing, and when playing a game like League of Legends, we will often sit in front of our computers for countless hours and forget to take care of ourselves. So now what you need is a Banished kit. Over time, there have been many companies who claim to help combat acne. But what I like about Banished is that it actually works. And it's not just people with perfect skin telling you it works, there's actual everyday people who used Banished and received significant results. On the screen right now are just some of Banished's users who have posted their results. With over 3,000 positive reviews, Banished has become the solution to many of its users' acne problems. If you're interested in using Banished or want to learn more about Banished, check out the first link in the description to find everything you're looking for. Number 3. The Legend of Dr. Terrible. In 2012, a player who went by the name of Dr. Terrible found a way to hack his mastery page and make it so he could add an unlimited amount of points into the cooldown reduction of his summoner spells. And well, in case you ever wondered what 100% cooldown reduction on Smite and Flash looked like, here you go. And as you can imagine, this was making some pretty quick games. This could kill every minion as they spawned, kill dragons and barons in seconds. This power was no joke. And for some time, Dr. Terrible was the only man to possess this power, until other people eventually started to crack the code and started doing the same thing. This power ended up into too many people's hands. Evil hands. This became such an issue that even a Riot employee went and made a post on the league boards to let people know that this wasn't acceptable. They promised to help those players who were negatively affected by the hackers, and also promised to ban those who participated in these evil acts. And they weren't lying, because in the end, over 600 accounts were banned. And from that day forward, masteries became server-side and were no longer hackable through the client. And before we move on from the topic, the first clip I showed you was Flash and Smite on 100% cooldown. Now this guy has heal and you're able to do this. Number 2, the money is already printed. You just have to go and get it. You know those trying to be motivational quotes people post on Facebook with a bunch of emojis? Well, I saw this one and thought it fit the topic of discussion. For our 4th hack, we go all the way back to 2013, when apparently the Summoner's Rift economy broke and people were out here selling their own rune pages for gold. Basically with this hack, you could at any point of the game, most commonly the beginning of the game, sell your own rune page for its gold value, which was 2,100 at level 1, and actually there's nothing else to it. That's what the hack did, and as you can imagine, that was broken as hell. Getting 2,100 gold at the beginning of the game is a completely game-changing advantage. Here's a screenshot just to show you how the hack worked. The game just started, as you can see by the time, and the person who took the screenshot has average starting items. But LeBlanc has a needlessly large rod and a blasting wand at 1 minute. But hey, at least she wasn't trying to hide it. When her team called her items out, she said, "That's why we win." And I guess she's right. You gotta commend honesty. And for number 1, Xerath. Just Xerath. For years, Xerath has been a champion that has always been used for scripting. If you don't know what scripting is, a script is another third-party program and is the most common form of cheating in League of Legends. Scripts are basically like an aim assist in shooting games. You play the game normally, but when you're fighting, the script helps you out, and it makes sure that every skill shot always lands on your enemy. So basically with scripts, you never miss. Now the reason I'm talking about Xerath is because of course he has a lot of skill shots, and people who script will often use him because that's where they would benefit the most. But in April of 2017, cheaters found one of the biggest exploits that League of Legends has ever seen. Since this was so recent, you might have seen it already. This exploit would turn Xerath's Q into a global ability that hit every enemy no matter where they were. All Xerath had to do was sit wherever he felt safe and just spam Q to win the game. This is actually the reason why if you look for the record of most kills in a ranked game of League of Legends, most of the top spots are flooded with Xerath who garnered well over 100 kills using this hack. But of course this hack was game breaking and didn't last long. Not too long after the hack became prominent, Riot patched the exploit and took care of all the cheaters. And alright, thank you for making it to the end of this video. Once again, my name's Nikolai, and if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, click or tap my face to subscribe. Or if you'd like to watch one of my previous videos, click the video to the right. Remember to check out Banished if you're interested, but most of all, thanks for watching. Peace.